You know what I miss about quarantine? Well, firstly, the lack of responsibility. I mean, I kind of had my own responsibilities because I was making YouTube videos the entire time, but what I really do miss about the quarantine of 2020 was Adam Gaudette and his Twitch streams. Because watching Adam Gaudette, a Vancouver Canucks guy, go out there and play a video game that I personally know nothing about — I was always a Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2, multiplayer only, no Battle Royale kind of guy — it was really intriguing to me to just interact in this Twitch stream with a Vancouver Canucks player and Gaudette, and sure, he was traded from the Canucks a little bit later into a Chicago system that a lot of people were super interested in seeing how they would use him, but today we're talking about Adam Gaudette and another player on the Chicago Blackhawks, Dylan Strome, in a little bit of a different way. Because, yes, Adam Gaudette, in his debut with the Blackhawks, actually looked pretty good. He had 4 points in 7 games played to end off the 2020-2021 season, and the Canucks' return in Matthew Highmore was not really that much of a point producer himself either, so it was a really wait-and-see kind of situation with Highmore and Gaudette. Now, for Highmore, Vancouver, we all kind of know what he is. He's just a really hard worker. We're not really expecting him to produce the lights out. If he ever gets a season like Gaudette did in 2019-20 with 12 goals, 33 points in 59 games, I'd be very surprised. But for Adam Gaudette, at the time of recording this audio, he is at 2 points in 8 games played with the Blackhawks. Yes, this video is being recorded the morning of Thursday, November 11th. It will be uploaded sometime on Sunday. He has himself a game against the Arizona Coyotes later, or at least if he plays, then he'll play there, and we'll see if he gets any more points than 2 points in 8 games after that. But the problem with Gaudette, as well as a few other forwards in Chicago, is just that they got a lot of forwards, and when it comes to the way these guys are being deployed, the way these guys are being played, there are a lot of options as to who should be played, when they should be played, and all the other stuff in between. For Adam Gaudette, he said in the media the other day, which is a few days for you but yesterday for me, "I'm still waiting for a bigger role and opportunity. I know I can do it, but it's just a matter of earning the trust with the coaches." He said he has gotten into carrying crystals and doing saging cleanses to keep his confidence up, and I don't know what those are, so I'm gonna Google those and get back to you right here. Oh my goodness, okay, okay. You know what? There's a bigger quote on that. We're going to expand on that a little bit further here. So, people seem intrigued to the Gaudette full quote about the crystals. This is the entire thing here. My wife's side of the family, her and her mom, are very, very in touch with their spirituality and the palm readings and stuff like that. Her mom's kind of got a sixth sense. I didn't believe it at first. I thought it was BS, to be honest, but I believe it's real now. Carrying around certain crystals and saging with different types of herbs and stuff, it gives you the, okay, yeah, it's a big quote. Very big quote. His confidence is getting better. It's something that he feels could be utilized by other guys. He is not sure how other people feel about it, and it is indeed something different. And he doesn't think a lot of other guys are going to do it, but it helps him, and he's going to keep doing it. Okay, that's fine. Whatever floats your boat, you know. If you feel like this is helping you out, then why not go ahead and keep it up? But for Adam Gaudette, his name has actually popped up in a few more trade rumors regarding the Chicago Blackhawks. And in fact, it's not even just him. There indeed is another name that we have discussed about a whole bunch as well that could be on the block as well. Here is the article on dailyfaceoff.com. Icebreakers. The Chicago Blackhawks are in no rush to hire their next GM, and the Habs and Senators are eyeing Kravtsov. We already used this article for another video that was a Kravtsov Montreal-Ottawa one from a few days ago, but the first actual piece of this article goes over the Chicago Blackhawks. Sarah Bailey writes about the replacement for Stan Bowman, and it goes over CEOs, GM, interim GM, Kyle Davidson, Jeremy Colleton, and all that. This is kind of the piece that I wanted to focus on, though. Davidson made the call to fire head coach Jeremy Colleton over the weekend. Davidson is the one who has been making and fielding calls with other managers over the last week in an attempt to shake up the roster, looking to move forwards Adam Gaudette, Dylan Strome, and others. So, there you go. Adam Gaudette is on the block once again. Dylan Strome is on the block still. This guy has been on the block the past year, it feels like. Even with Stan Bowman in the chair, it felt like Dylan Strome trade rumors were running high the entire time too. So having these two names as our trade targets on the market at the moment makes things a little bit more interesting. Now, I will say, As I'm recording this video on November 11th in the morning, we have ourselves what was the projected lines that the Blackhawks had during practice, and they actually do have Strome and Gaudette playing on the third line together. If you go over to the combinations, they're out here with Philipp Kurashev, so that's a really interesting line right there, and honestly, as a third depth scoring line, I don't think it's that bad of a line. I'm a really big fan of Philipp Kurashev specifically. Ever since his World Juniors performance, I've been in love with his profile as a player. So having him alongside of Dylan Strome and Adam Gaudette, two guys who just kind of need to get the ball rolling, you know, it could make for a really interesting combination. We'll see if this actually proceeds into the next Blackhawks game against the Coyotes. But disregarding everything that's going on with the team right now, if you go over to the point production, Dylan Strome, in the limited sample size he has had, and when I say limited, I mean very limited. Sure, he is getting games played, but he's not really getting any minutes out there. 7 games played, 1 assist for 1 total point on the season. Gaudette, as we noted, 2 points in 8 games. This Blackhawks team, as we noted, based off of the depth they have rotating in their lineup, are not really getting the best out of these guys. So, seeing the new interim GM put himself in a position where he's like, yeah, okay, we need to get rid of some of these players. It makes sense to me. It's just a bigger question to me, though, whether or not these guys are going to have sustained NHL success if they find themselves in other organizations. Because I kind of feel like these two, Strome and Gaudette, are in a similar boat where if you give these guys, let's say, top power play time, you give them top 6 minutes, you play them with good players, it wouldn't surprise me if they actually did really well. But for Adam Gaudette, in what was a bottom 6 role with the Canucks, he really faded away after the 2020 season. Even in the bubble, he had 0 points in the bubble that year, and his 2020-2021 season with the Canucks was, for lack of a better word, it was just bad. 7 points, 33 games played, his production was not sustainable in the slightest, and as a result, you know, he got traded. Sure, he had a really good start out with the Blackhawks, 4.7 games as we noted, but you really have to ask yourself, this is a guy that says that he is confident in himself and that he feels he can go out there, get some points. If he's given a bigger role, he can start scoring more. There are only a handful of teams that can go out there and grant his wish, aren't there? I mean, the Blackhawks are one of the worst teams in the entire NHL, and he's not cracking this team's top 6. I find it difficult to believe that there would be an NHL franchise out there that, for Gaudette specifically, would be very willing to give him a top 6 spot. Now, I don't want to discredit the idea that he could work himself up and actually achieve that status on his own, but as long as he's in that position currently where he's not getting any playing time and he's not getting any points either, it's kind of a cycle of, okay, bottom 6 minutes leads to bottom 6 production, leads to no opportunities, leads to low production again. For Dylan Strome, he has had that sustained level of success before. His first year with Chicago was fantastic. 51 points, 58 games played. He was playing with Patrick Kane, he was playing with DeBrincat, he was playing with some fantastic players in that time frame. But he's still just another one of these depth guys in Chicago at the moment. Again, it's a Chicago Blackhawks team that's one of the worst in the league, and he cannot crack this top 6. Heck, maybe that Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews thing that we talked about comes back into the picture. Maybe there's a trade with one of these guys which opens the door for a Gaudette or a Strome to come into the top 6 and show off that they are better than what we are seeing so far. But that's a long shot. I don't really want to go out there making a plan that relies on a guy like Patrick Kane or Jonathan Toews to get traded, because it's so unlikely that it's just not really worth thinking about, in my opinion. So, if you're a Blackhawks fan, let me know in the comments, what would you want to do with a guy like Strome or a guy like Gaudette? Is a trade in the works? Do you really think that would be the best move? You have a lot of forwards up there, so do you really need these kinds of guys in your lineup? Furthermore, what could you realistically expect? For me personally, I'm not really too sure what the price is going to be. As we've noted, they haven't shown off all too well at the NHL so far, and they're getting up in age where it's like, okay, these guys are both 2015 picks, they're both 24, 25 years old. What's the timeline here for these guys? Does a 33 points in 50-something game player still exist in Adam Gaudette? Is a 50-point player in 50-something games played kind of guy still exist in Dylan Strome? How likely is that to happen? Let me know in the comments if you're a fan of any other team, if you would like to acquire any of these guys, and if you would actually be able to give them a top 6 spot. I think it's very circumstantial, the outcomes of success here for Strome and Gaudette, where these guys go out there and become the stars that we thought they would have been at one point. Strome because he was 3rd overall, and Gaudette because he won the Hobey Baker that year. it's just kind of difficult to project into the next few years. So talk to me in the comments about Strome and Gaudette. Do you think these guys get traded? Where to do you think they move? And what is the price? I hope you enjoyed this. Rosén, and bye.